What are you doing? Why have you...
Shut your face. Literally, did you cut back to you then as you're actually giving me a hard time for cutting this and having it ready?
I was like, it's fine. Tuck in, do enjoy.
I have every intention of doing exactly that. If you put a scone in front of me, then I am definitely going to do it the Cornish way.
No butter?
Yeah, where's the butter?
No, don't do butter.
You don't need butter if you've got cream, surely.
Got cream, I don't
Even
put
You always need butter.
No, you don't.
Well,
Like
there you
this.
go.
No, you don't.
Butter.
Yeah.
Now, listen, James is here to show you how to master a very British dish. I wonder what he could possibly be making. Homemade British...
Victoria sponge.
Loaded with clotted cream and jam. I mean, this is a British staple, isn't it, this?
It is, really. We're actually going to start at the other end, which is going to be with the jam that goes with it. So I'm going to start with that first.
Oh, you're making your own jam?
Because, yeah, because it's really, really easy. Really easy. We've got raspberries, we've got strawberries. Bang into season now, depends on where you live. If you're thinking about Cornwall, Devon, they've got strawberries at the moment. Hampshire, not yet, or nearly. And then gradually, as the weather warms up, then the rest of the country.
Yeah.
We've got some beautiful raspberries. The best raspberries come from Scotland, as we all know. They are the best raspberries in the world. They're amazing. And we just throw the raspberries straight in with the sugar. And I put a lot less sugar in this jam, because this is so much quicker to make.
But 10 tonne of butter.
So often... that's happening in a minute. That's going with this bit. But it's less sugar, because you want to taste the fruit. And what I do is cook it much, much faster. So the lemon goes in there as well. And we just quickly cook that. And so often with jam, you're going to cook it for about 35, 45 minutes. This is probably going to be about 8 to 10 minutes.
Really?
And you rapidly boil it. You've got to be quite careful that you don't catch it, but quite quickly all the liquid will start to come out of the...
And that's the same, and then you just put it in a pot and you can keep it like jam, exactly the same?
Phil's already about to start.
I've already actually had a spoon of just jam.
Yeah, and it's fresh. I mean, there's nothing wrong with jam, but this is more compote.
It tastes like raspberries.
Well, that's...
Which I know sounds ridiculous, but it just tastes like you've just
crazy.
a fresh raspberry.
If you make a jam traditionally, it's got a lot more sugar in, usually jam sugar, which is pectin to replace the non-pectin in the fruit. But it tastes very sweet, and very little of the fruit. It sounds
Can you do this with other fruit?
Raspberries as well. Yeah, blueberries, blackberries, exactly the same way.
Strawberries?
Yes,
apricots?
exactly, but rapidly boil it. So you've got to be really careful it doesn't catch. On with the scones or scones. The best
What do
way
you
to...
say?
Scone.
It's
a north-south divide, isn't it, really?
I don't know.
So what, you're northerner?
Yeah.
My family, all from Oldham, it's scone.
Is it?
Yeah.
Scone. It's obviously East and
Yours
West.
nearly has.
So, running through the ingredients for this, I always make this by hand, but I use strong flour, so like bread flour.
Yeah.
So strong flour, and we've got a little bit of baking powder. Salt, I put in table salt rather than sort of sea salt, because you want it all to mix together. We got some sugar. And then you take butter. You cannot make this with margarine. Margarine is not food. Never has been, never will be. And we mix this together. And we basically use your fingertips for this. And this is what my gran used to do. When I used to sit there and watch her as a young kid, my granny, Granny Smith was her name, and she used to have an old...
no way.
I love her apples.
We used to have an old... she used to have an old bowl that I've got at home, and it's got sort of ring marks in it, where she used to rub this together while watching Corrie for half an hour, just sat there rubbing the butter together. And she always used butter as well. And if you get to a process where it just starts to break up a little bit, use your fingertips like that. And what you want to do is...
This isn't her original recipe or anything, is it?
This is her original recipe.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've got several. This one, Yorkshire puddings, is her original recipe. Short crust pastry. Because I really great believe if you do it by hand, it tastes so much better. So your granny, your great-grandmother were always brilliant at baking, because they never had a fancy machine to mix things in.
Yeah.
It all used to be mixed by hand. And what you're doing is working the gluten less. So
my nan's kitchen was always a horror show.
Was it?
Oh my God! I mean, she ate everything, and so you walk in and there'd be a pan bubbling on the stove and lift the lid up. Oh, like some sort of Stephen King novel.
What was in there?
Oh, there could be heart bubbling away.
Oh,
in
no,
there.
no.
But we were like that. We had tripe and brine and yeah, all manner of different sorts.
Do you like all that stuff?
Well, because we lived on a farm, and we could sell always the sort of prime cuts. We couldn't sell the secondary cuts, so the trotters and that kind of stuff. That's where you learnt the art of great food, learning to adapt and...
Yeah,
But it's always the food that tastes the great.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. Fantastic. Oh, you know, homemade food always.
Even tripe?
Yeah, if it's cooked properly, it's beautiful.
Tripe?
Yeah, if it's cooked properly, I'll do it.
No, you
My
will
granddad-
not.
I will.
Not on my watch.
My granddad was eating a sort of one day a yellowy ham, a yellowy colour ham, and
A yellowy
and
ham?
I said, yeah, yellowy ham, and I said, what's that,
God.
Granddad? And it's funny. I mean, I must have been like 8, and it's still seared in my mind. So I said, what is that? He said, have a taste, and I tasted it. I said, oh, that's quite. I said, that's quite nice. What is it? Cow's udder.
Who eats that?
See, I was brought... When I was a young kid, I went training in France. I was quite fortunate to go training. So we used to have salad de gigot, which was duck gizzards and stuff like that. But it's what you were...
Which bit's a gizzard?
So, off camera. We want people to watch this scone recipe, that's what...
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's all its bits inside.
Oh, OK.
Yeah. Look, we've got our scone bit, and what we want to do really is mix this together with water. Now, the reason I put a recipe on the website, but the thing about flour is it absorbs different amounts of liquid throughout the year. It's really just because you have one type of flour, don't stick with the same recipe. It's the texture that you want. So
You want to learn that.
Don't just think you're just going to measure the milk and throw it in all the time, because different flours absorb different amounts of liquid. Really, really noticeable.
Even from the same manufacturer?
Oh, massively. If you use supermarket own brand flour, it's very, very different to a single ground flour. Massively different, massively different. And whether it's from Canada, whether it's from France, different types of wheat. So what you want to do is work this as little as possible, like that, and then we just treat it like with kids' gloves. You just, tiny bit of flour. You see a lot of chefs doing this, because you just want a little bit of flour on it, like that. Tiny, tiny bits of flour, and then roll it out to about sort of ½ centimetre thick. Take your little cutter, like that, and then, again, kid gloves. And what I would do, really, with this, is I would leave it in the fridge for about 15 minutes before you cook it. The thing about it is, when the minute you add liquid in there and you've got this warmth of the studio, but warmth at home, this baking powder will actually start to rise up. And what you want to do is just retard that a little bit. So you just pop that in the fridge, just for a touch. And then once you got to that stage, you can then take an egg wash. Now, because it's going to be in the oven for no more than about sort of 12 minutes at a hot oven, 200 degrees, instead of using an whole egg yolk is the key. So if it's in the oven for shorter and hotter, egg yolk. If it's in there for longer, whole egg.
All of it.
Or whole egg and milk. But have a taste of
All right, going in.
And then these ones have gone in the oven.
Oh, my gosh.
These ones are fresh out of the oven. And the thing about these scones or scones, what you want to do is don't put them in the fridge. So once you get to that stage...
They are so light.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
It becomes this sort of... my gran was great at biscuits as well. You know, anything like shortbread. You really notice it with biscuits.
What about sultanas in your scones?
Sultanas, you get to the stage where you would roll it all up like that to a dough. You would add the sultanas. The same thing with cheese, if you want to put the cheese in there. But a really good cheddar cheese as well, nicely grated in there. But you can mix and match with all the different flavours. Even herbs in this.
Yeah.
Tastes amazing. A little bit of cheese, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of rosemary.
Or like a savoury one.
Yeah, and then you take the scone on the scone, put more cheese on the top, some butter, and then grill it.
So it's like cheese on toast
Different level.
Scone.
Different level.
I don't even know what I say anymore.
But you can see the texture from it. So the texture that you get is this beautiful light texture, which is
Oh, my
exactly what you want.
gosh.
When's your tour, by the way?
Tour's out in March, April next year, and really excited. Yeah, all the way from Plymouth to the Palladium. So we're just learning at the moment. I've got
Cooking and chatting, bit of music.
bit of music. I'm rehearsing tonight before the restaurants really kick up. The restaurants kick up this week, so I'm spending a little time.
Life's good now, hey?
Well, we'll talk
We're getting
more about
there.
the restaurant as well a little bit later on, because that's exciting as well.
James,
Definitely do.
thank you for all the recipe details. Take a look at our This Morning app.